A very good morning from wherever you're watching us from. Today being a Tuesday, this is Parenting Tuesday, and we have so much lined up for you today. We're going to be discussing about parental attachment, the thread, the invisible thread that is there between a parent and a child. What are the impacts of these attachments between the parent and a child? For me personally, for example, I have an experience, I have a memory of a parental attachment, and that was between me and my mom. And at some point, when it got to a point that I thought in my wisdom that it was about time for me to get my own space, get my own small house, even if it's a bed sitter, and I was now ready to move out, I was surprised when my mom was like, no, where are you going? I mean, bearing in mind that my mom and I were very close. And she was like, no, you're still young at 21, or is it 22? Where are you going? There's everything here. But I was like, no, I want my own space. I want my own freedom, But that influenced me in one way or the other, which we'll get to know as you join us in this show. I have very amazing guests this morning who've joined us in the studio. I have an expert on this subject matter and have a parent who has also gone through this parental attachment. So we're going to have a very robust conversation, very friendly, very, insightful conversation. And before we delve into the conversation this morning, I would like to introduce my amazing guests, two amazing ladies, and they're going to introduce themselves. I have an expert who is Faith and a parent who is Seraphine. They will introduce themselves. Faith, welcome to the studio.
Thank you so much for giving me this chance to be here with you today to discuss about parenting. My name is Faith Nafula Atsango. I'm a counseling psychologist by profession, and I'm also a parent. I have 2 sons and a daughter. Yeah.
Fantastic. Welcome.
Thank you very much. I am Serafina Kathurima, a pioneer HR consultant in Kenya, and a mother of 3 adult children. It's a pleasure to be here this morning to discuss parenting and that attachment. So, welcome to the discussion that we are going to have. I believe it's going to give you an amazing outlook about parenting and attachment.
Karibuni sana, karibuni sana. Faith, I will start with you being the expert because we need a lot of, advice and guidance on what it is about. And I know also with Seraphine being a mother of mature adult children.
Yes.
You have a lot of experience in this, and wisdom. So therefore, I'll start with you, Faith. Just maybe to tell us or fill us in on what is parental attachment.
Wow, this is a good start. Parenting attachment is how you related with your first caregiver growing up. These are the people who make or break you, because the foundation, just like building a house, if you have a bad foundation down there, up here, the house will not be strong.
Yeah.
So the caregivers that take care of us as we grow, they have so much impact to who we turn out to be. And we have different kinds of parenting attachments. Just to mention, we have secure parenting attachment, where the parent is always present.
Right.
They respond to your needs. When a child cries, they respond to it. When the child is hungry, or when they need some providence, they need love, the parent, the caregiver is always present.
Yeah.
And this makes this person grow so confident emotionally. They attach, they mix, they don't depend for validation from other people.
Yeah.
They're just on their own as a person. And then we have avoidant parenting,
Yes.
which is also insecure. This is a person who was brought up by a parent who is emotionally unavailable,
Yeah.
too busy.
Yes.
And when they reprimand with a punishment. That's, I gave you money to spend. Why did you spend it badly?
Yeah.
They served you coffee or porridge, and then by mistake you pour on yourself. They come, why have you poured yourself?
But aren't they forgetting they're unavailable? Isn't that unfair? Because they're unavailable, so these children have no person to mentor them, to guide them.
They don't know what is expected of them, but the caregiver expects this child to know. Yeah, so that is the avoidant one, the insecure one. And then we have anxious.
Yes.
This is a type of a caregiver who very strict, and yet they expect you to be on the right.
Okay.
They are very strict. When they tell you something, I want this here, they want this here, this is what they want. And when they come and they don't find what you've done, you're in trouble.
It's almost militant.
Yes, you're in trouble.
Yes,
So it makes this child grow with a lot of anxiety.
And fear.
Yeah, and a lot of fear.
Yeah.
That I was told to do this. I don't know if I've done it the right way. I don't know if my mother or my auntie or whoever is giving care to me will be happy with what I've done.
Yes.
So they grow up with a lot of fear and a lot of rejection.
Right.
Because when the caregiver comes and they've not done what they were supposed to do, they feel rejected, right?
Yeah.
So, and then we have another one, the fourth one,
Yeah.
which is, there's this name, disorganized.
Yes.
Disorganized.
Yes.
That this person, no one takes care of them. They're just there.
So
to
the
do-
parent is the one who's disorganized.
Yes, the parent is just there. You've just been left.
Whether you went to school, did your homework.
That's up to you.
That's not
how
their
you do
problem.
your things. It's up to you.
Yeah.
You're just left there. You do your things. When the small child messes on themselves,
Yeah.
no one is there to clean them up.
no.
When they want to go sleep, just sleep wherever you find. You find the child just sleeping on the floor. So no one is there to take care of you. And that's why now when people grow up,
Yeah.
now they start showing
Those
Yeah.
tendencies.
What
the
they went
tendencies,
through.
what they
Yes.
went through, because that is what they were conditioned with from the word go.
Yeah, but sometimes you also, just to be fair also to this disorganized parent, probably you find it's because of probably their economic status, where they're at, at that point in time. You're disorganized because you have to wake up in the morning, run out, you go for kibaruas, whatever, mamafua, whatever. You have no time to take care of these kids and say, oh, I'll plan you, oh, please, you know, you have no time for that. So we
But-
have to also give it to them.
No, but
Yeah.
as a caregiver, you should at least provide the bare minimum.
Yeah.
The bare minimum. You ask yourself, yes, I have a child with me.
Yes.
What is expected of me as a parent, right?
You are the adult in that relationship.
Yes, you're the adult.
You have to be the adult
Yeah.
and do the right
so
thing.
what is the bare minimum that I need to do? Provide the basics. When you do the basics, everyone is busy.
Yeah.
Everyone is busy. But then, where are your priorities? What do you want for this human being you brought forth? What do you want?
Thank you for that very, very strong and detailed intro from you, Faith. We'll go to Seraphine. You're the mother, yeah? Like you said, you're the grown-up here, and I'm sure your kids were young at some point.
Yeah.
She talked about foundation. What kind of foundation did you lay for your children?
Thank you for that question. Parenting is something that you learn as you go along. These days, we have different systems where people are invited to classes, somebody talks to you about it.
Right.
In my time, there were no such schools, but my parents were my first school of parenting.
Yes.
Because the way I was brought up influenced a lot how I brought up my children. My mother was always there.
Right.
So was my father. Even though he had a job, my mother was a stay-at-home mom. But wherever my father worked, it was a walking distance from his office to the house.
Right.
So he was always present. And my mother was very strict, very well organized, very orderly. And from an early age, she taught us first how to make your bed, how to clean yourself.
Yeah.
My father was the first hotelier in Kenya. So
Wow.
table manners were taught early.
Wow.
So it was difficult to find chaos in the house. Yes,
Literally,
sometimes
charity began at home
yes,
for you.
Yeah, even
Yeah.
though sometimes there would be disorder because we are playing and dropping things around.
Right.
But we always knew you have to pick up what you have dropped.
Yes.
Even tying shoelaces, we were taught that you don't wear shoes and walk away without lacing them up. So the way I was brought up influenced a lot the way I brought up my children.
Yes.
Yeah.
The other thing about the way I was raised is that my parents always talked to us. I did the same with my children. They were my friends.
Yes.
I was their friend. We talked about everything so that they had no reason to go and experiment and find answers in places where there would be a problem.
Okay.
They always asked questions and I answered.
So that's the kind of foundation you laid for them in terms
Yes.
of the attachment, and
Yes.
it means what Faith just talked about. Do you think you had the secure, or do you think you have the secure type of attachment with your children?
It was secure.
It was secure.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we are still close to this day.
Yes. Okay. Yeah, because when I look at, you know, the way we are raised right now, Faith, what do you think would be the reason why parents are so attached? You know, like even me, and like just Seraphine has said, you raise your children the way your parents raised you. My mother, like I said, you know, from the beginning, couldn't let go of me, you know, and I'm going through the same thing right now. Like my daughter, she can move out if she wants right now, past college and stuff.
Yeah.
But I keep telling her, I repeat the same thing. History is repeating itself literally in front of my eyes. I'm like, where are you going? And you know, and stuff like that. And even little things like even sleepovers for me.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, you know, it's not very easy. What do you think, or why do you think this happens?
Okay, what I can say about this is we need to appreciate that the parenting space has totally changed. We are in the tech era.
Yes.
And my season when I was parented and the season that I'm parenting my children right now is totally different.
Right.
Though the fundamentals are still the same, that we want your kid to have the best, to be comfortable, to be loved and all, but the parenting space has totally changed.
Right.
Homes are the best
Yes.
schools for becoming who we are.
To learn.
Right? So why parents fear is you've worked so hard on your child. You've put the foundations. You've told them the best thing that they need to do. You've put the right values that you think they're good.
Yeah.
You don't know what the other parent is doing. Parents are busy, right? And whoever they leave their kids with, we don't know the values that the caregivers, that other children are also being exposed to. So here I am, my child asks, Mommy, I want to go for a sleepover.
Right.
You'll ask, to which home?
Yes.
Right? Because you want to know, yes, I'm releasing you, but where are you going? Is the home that you're going a safe home? Is what I've done, is the work that I've done on you going to be washed away? In
a matter of hours or a matter of
Yes,
a night.
yes.
And I like that. I like what you're saying, because we had that conversation with Seraphine off camera before, and we were talking about the sleepover bit about it. And you had something to say, Seraphine, about that as well. Just almost like what Faith is talking about.
Yeah, it's usually difficult for a parent to allow a child to go and have a sleepover the first time.
Yeah.
Because of the kind of background you have, the way you raise your child. I remember in my own case, as a child in school, the first place I wanted to go and spend the night was in my aunt's house, my father's only sister. And I remember it took a whole year of speaking to my mom and my dad. A whole year, because I was allowed the following year when I went to Form 3 to go to my aunt's home and spend a weekend. It was difficult for them to release me. And my father was very particular. One of the things he said was, I'm not sure that they boil their drinking water. I'm not sure about the hygiene. There were so many things. Mind you, I'm telling you, my father was a hotelier. He was very particular about cleanliness. So he wasn't comfortable my going to a place where they didn't have running water in the house. So I had to persuade my mother for a whole year. And she agreed. Now, in my case, when my children wanted to have a sleepover, it was in the home of a child that my daughter, my first one, kept talking about her best friend, so and so, so and so. And then I decided, this is very interesting. So one Sunday, I asked her to come with me after church, and we drove to the home of this pastor, of this child that she was very close to, talked about at length about her parents, and those parents and I became very good friends to this day. So I was able to allow her to go into this home because I could see there are a lot of similarities because they are home and mine.
The family values.
I had no fear after that. And it was the same with all the others. I knew their friends. I knew their friends' parents. Those parents became my friends. So we began socializing, meeting at school functions, private family events, birthdays, and so on. So that helped me to be able to let go, not to be too attached to my children, because I knew they were in a safe environment. I didn't have any negative concerns, for example.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was at peace.
But now that is on, we're talking about now, that's about families, interaction and stuff. Now you have a child who is of age and probably they want to get married or travel abroad for education. Faith.
Yes.
Here you are and you're telling me, so here you're not going to, you know, do a background check on wherever she's going. Where she's getting married, you really have no control. So how do you deal with this? How do you deal with this?
For parents, I always encourage parents because I engage with parents a lot of times. And I always tell them, like, what you pump in your child from age 0 to age 12 thereabouts is very, very important. If you do a proper job, your child will always remember, mommy or daddy told me 1, 2, 3. Yes, I've met a community that goes out Monday to Monday, but is this what I want for myself? Will I make my parents proud? And another trick about parenting, when you become friends with your children, there is no way they will go against what you've been talking about. And I liked what you said about being friends, because when you're friends, your children will never hide from you. So you have a child, the child is going or getting married. If you've planted the right seeds in your child, they might go off a bit, but they will still come back and say, no, this is not what I was conditioned to be. This is not what I was taught. I will go. This is a community where they take alcohol Monday to Monday, but that is not me. I will do what is best for me. And you see, when you have a secure child, this child will not depend on validation from the peers or the outside. They believe in themselves, they are comfortable in their own skin, and nothing will change who they are. If it's a good person, they will remain a good person irrespective
of where they are, the environment, the external forces and stuff like that. But we also have, let's flip over to, now this is a child, they've gone, they've traveled for education or whatever, and now they're the ones who are now more attached to the parent. Now, you know, it has changed, the roles have changed, now they're more attached.
They
like,
cannot stay away from
mom, because also you've, you know, they're used to, their clothes are being, they're comfortable at home, now they're out there. They're the ones attached to. How do you deal
with that? You support them. And it happens a lot. You see, with the different birth positions that we have, there are challenges that firstborns face, middle children face, and lastborn children face, right? Of course, firstborns usually, there are those kids who are teaching you how to parent. You want to do everything right, every tick, 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 tick. Then secondborn comes, they are finding their space. The children who get that problem of attachment are these lastborns or lone children, because most of the time, oh, mommy, oh, daddy, what can I do? I need this. What can I do? Oh, mommy.
Baby of the house.
Yes, baby of the house. So what you need to do, you just need to support them by sensitizing them. You just encourage them. You tell them, okay, we've been doing these things together for a very long time, and now it's time for you to go and stand by yourself.
So they need a lot of reassurance.
A lot of reassurance, and it should come from you as a parent, not any other person, because we don't know where this child is going to fall. Right? If it's a marriage, we don't know how this partner
is going to turn out.
So it's upon us as parents to just reaffirm and reassure our children that, yes, I know we've been doing these things together. I've been supporting you in every step that you take, but now it has come to time that you need now to stand by yourself, make your own decisions, and whenever you need help, I'm always a phone call away. Don't shy away from calling me. I will not judge you. I'll be there for you. And I think that child will have the confidence to face their life
reach out
and to go.
You said something about, you know, the lastborns and they're the ones who are insecure. And we have a parent here. Seraphine, you have a lastborn. What or how does your child behave, this lastborn? Is he the clingy type? Is he a secure, do you have a secure attachment with him? Disorganized, being a baby, anxious? Which one?
That's a very interesting question. I would like to say that in my case, that parental attachment where you are reluctant to let go, I think it was very limited. It was not a big thing. I think it is as a result, again, of the way I grew up. And how can I put it? A liberal environment where my parents and I talked. I did the same with my children. Now when it was their turn to go away, yes, I briefed them. I talked about the courses they were going to study, the university they were going to. My first one, my second, they went to the US.
Yes.
And I did a lot of groundwork, you know, to have information about where they were going.
Just know exactly where they're going.
Yes.
Are they okay?
I also had the advantage of an uncle who was there.
Okay.
So I knew that they would not be let loose into a place where they would feel lost.
Yes.
But it was, for me, it was adventurous. But the person who was very, very attached to them and had difficulty letting go was my husband. He actually escorted our firstborn to the US. I was actually going to ask about
father,
he went with her to make sure that wherever the accommodation was going to be found was okay. Yeah. The routing, the shopping, whatever social life she was going to have was okay. He had to go and verify everything and feel comfortable that we have released our daughter to a place that was safe. Now, when it was the turn of the second one, I went again to make sure everything was okay. Her sister is there already, so they were not alone anymore, they were together. In the case of my last born, the boy, he became independent very early. Even as a child, he was very well organized, orderly, and so on. He was very systematic in the way he did his things. And he went to school in the UK. And we had agreed that the children would go abroad after they turned 18. We were very particular about that so that they were well grounded in values, about security, conversations, even the relationships we're going to have out there. It was a deliberate effort that we were very, very particular about. My last born is not clingy. In fact, when he came back from school and he got a job, I'm the one who got a shock. When one day he told me, Mommy, I would like to move out. I found my own place. Please do not give me anything from this house. I know you. Every time somebody is setting up a home, you give them everything, furniture, bed. Please, I don't want anything. And it's not in a bad way. I would like to have my own thing.
Is that part of attachment? Like, you know, you prepare them, you give them everything. But before you answer that, let's go to our audience and just from wherever you're watching us from. This is a very, very interesting and like I said, this is going to be a very robust conversation. And I'm sure you're listening from wherever you're listening and watching us from. Please join in the conversation. You can chat us up on SMS on 20136 or WhatsApp on 0786 316 316 just to get to be part of this amazing conversation with amazing ladies. And let us just know, what do you think or feel about this parental attachment? Do you think where you are in your own space, are you secure? Do you have a secure attachment? Is it an anxious one? Is it disorganized that you have no idea? Even, you know, if your child slept, woke up, ate, or, you know, please talk to us on 0786 316 316 on WhatsApp. So now, ladies.
I think before even you come to the next point, last ones, as you've said, I think they have advantage of life skills because they have seen other people grow, the children who are ahead of them. So they learn so much. They become so independent. They become so vocal. They know how to organize their things. It's just a matter of that living, the fear of the unknown.
Last borns know how to organize their things because
they have seen.
I see memes, even on the socials, and you see like a last born washing dishes, wanakuwa being enjoyed hapo ati anaosha Panadol. You know, there's this whatever it is called, but last borns, I don't know. I'm surprised. Like your last born, that was very responsible.
Yes, there's some last borns who will just look at whatever has happened before them and learn very fast, you know, and learn and pick the lessons. And you'll be so surprised. There are some last ones who are very, very stable, but there are some who are still clingy, mommy, mommy, daddy, I need this, how can I do this? And even up to today, we have adults who are like that.
Yeah, you have to teach them to be independent by the things they do for themselves in their bedrooms. At school, you encourage them. Say, organize their bedroom, make sure their clothes are okay. Whatever they need for the week is ready, and they know where it is. They have put it there themselves. When they come home from school, there is no servant waiting out there to pick their bag and arrange things for them. That I turned down very early. They had to carry their school bags. They have to know what's in their bags. Even when they come home, I'm not carrying their bags for them.
I love that. And with that, as I just try, and my viewers and listeners try to also just, get that into them, like that kind of parenting. Let us know if you have any question, if you have any concern. The experts are here, because having so many years of experience, you also become an expert. So talk to us on those lines, and your questions will be able to be answered. So as we move forward, we were talking about that attachment of, your children with you. This is the last born. How does this, and any one of you can go with this, the emotional bit of it, how is it for you as the mother and your child, when they're living, and the emotional bit of it, is it?
Thank you for that question. As I said before, I was actually taken aback. I'm looking at this young man. I think he was 24.
Right.
And he wants to move out and have his own place. And he has said he doesn't need anything from me. He would like to go and buy his own stuff.
Yes.
I had kind of a shock. So I waited.
And this is at what age?
He was 24 then.
24.
So I waited a little bit, and I asked him again, are you sure?
Yes.
He said, yes, I'm fine. I'll be okay.
Yes.
And it's very interesting, because when I went to see where he had chosen to live, when he found his own place, he is an engineer. He had designed the kind of bed he needed, made. He commissioned someone to make him his bed.
Right.
That was not only a bed, but also an office.
Wow.
It was an office. So there was a place to sleep.
Yes.
And there was a place for his computer, where he would be working from. I had never seen anything like that before. I said, oh my goodness. He's the architect of his own house.
Yes.
And what about cooking? Fortunately, he had learned how to cook.
Yeah.
And that was one thing that we used to do at home quite often. My children would take part. They would come and watch me cook.
Despite the agenda, they all go in and...
And being away also helped him. He learned how to cook.
Yeah. Okay.
So he did not become stranded about home care, looking after cleaning dishes and so on.
Yeah.
Because I think when you go abroad, that is the one thing you do for yourself. You become independent. So my reluctance waned as days went by, and I noticed that he was comfortable,
responsible.
And he's not coming back and forth to me.
Yes.
Sounding stranded or lost.
Yeah.
That did not happen. No, he did it very well. As for my daughters, when they went away, I remember, for me, it was difficult. Sometimes I would come home and I want to call Stephanie, or is it Christine?
Yes.
They're not
and just
there.
Find out.
Yeah. So letting go.
Yes.
For me, I allowed it because we had talked about it.
Yes.
We were excited that we were going to schools that we had discussed.
Yes.
But when they left, now you feel the gap.
Yeah.
Because you don't see them.
Yeah.
But I was not a clingy type, neither were they.
You're not a clingy type, but there was that feeling of, there's something.
Yes.
There's some emptiness or you feel some detachment, isn't it?
Yeah. Thank you for even bringing up the topic for emptiness.
Yes.
Yeah, there was. That's why I'm saying, I would come out, I want to call, and then I realize, oh my goodness, she's not here. I want somebody to do something, but she's not there.
Yes.
I can't ask her.
Yeah.
That happened quite a lot. Yeah, it took some time getting used to the fact that they were not there.
Correct. Okay.
Yeah, and I think the letting go part also depends on, maybe even as parents are also dealing with our own fears and maybe traumas. Maybe we've not navigated through losses. So the kids that we've grown up with, when it's time for them leaving, and maybe you invested so much time in them, forgetting about yourself as a person, you start fearing and asking yourself, what will my life be without them?
Because they're your world, they're your everything.
Because you've been waking up, it's them. You've been doing what? It's them. You forgot about yourself.
Yes.
So you find that parents don't want to release, because to some parents, they eat even through those babies. If those babies are not in the house, you find that the husband maybe even not provide, or if it's the woman who was providing, will say, no, since the kids are gone,
So how do you like now
Like
take
a
care of yourself?
parent,
Because you have to take care of yourself
yes,
first.
like a parent,
Yeah.
yes, like a parent now, you need to be doing these things consciously. You ask yourself, yes, I'm pouring out,
Yes.
I'm taking care of you people. What will happen when you leave? Will I crumble down? Or will I be able to continue with my life? So what I always tell people, as you do your parenting,
Yeah.
also think about you as a person, as
a
an
person.
individual.
Yes.
Because you were once a person.
Before being a mother,
yes,
and or a father.
Yes.
Yeah.
So who are you as a person? When you keep those kids aside,
Yes.
who are you as a person? And
Yeah.
do you have hobbies that you can go back to?
Yeah, anything interesting you can fall back to and do for yourself.
Do you have anything? Because if you don't do that,
Yeah.
then you'll become resentful to your children. You'll start saying,
They
I
left you, they abandoned
yes,
you.
I
Yeah,
sacrificed
yeah,
everything
yeah.
for you.
Yes, that's sacrifice.
Yes, I sacrificed my career, I
Yeah.
sacrificed my going out.
And you've just left me here
You've just
alone.
left me
Yeah,
here.
yeah.
Why are you doing this to me? So when you don't handle it
Yes,
nicely,
yes.
then you'll find that there'll be conflict when your kids...
And I like what you've said, because now we have the a case here that is really it is very real. It is very real, and it's about probably the challenges, Seraphine, that you may have gone through as a parent who has let go of 3 of your children. And with the loss of your partner, your spouse, then you're alone. So what are some of the challenges that you've gone through, and how did you manage to overcome them?
Thank you for that question. The biggest challenge was that the loneliness.
Yes.
It's huge. You're used to talking to someone. Let me give an example. One time I went to a church service.
Yes.
And after that there were some activities. So we used to go together. So on this day I have gone, I have been shown where to sit, and something is going on very active, and I'm turning to, to tell the person to whether they observe something that I did.
Yeah.
Then
Only to realize you're
not here. It hit me
Oh.
so hard. I remember that day.
Yeah.
When I went home, I was very sad.
Oh.
Very, very sad. Because I couldn't share that moment with this person that I was used to sharing jokes with,
Right.
teasing, and he wasn't there. Similarly with my children when they went away.
Yeah.
So it took some time for me to adjust. And what helped me was my job. I became very busy.
Okay.
The other thing that helped me was my siblings.
Yes.
I have 8 brothers, and they are cartoons, funny
Oh,
people.
Yeah.
They were always around me.
Yeah.
Some of them grew up in my house, so they kept me company. And then church
Yes.
activities,
Yes.
busy with church, with friends. So eventually, I was able to find a way of dealing with that
Yeah.
emptiness. I also kept in touch with my children. I was
Exactly.
calling
Going to ask
them.
that there.
I wrote a lot of emails.
Yes.
Sometimes I
And now with technology, video calls,
and share that. Yeah. So
Yeah.
those conversations continued.
Yes.
In fact, one of the things that goes on to this day is that I would write emails and in our mother tongue, in vernacular.
Yeah.
Because the jokes are so real when you put them in your mother tongue.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'll find something funny to say, and I'll share it with them, and they'll send emojis of laughter. So that is how I was able to maintain contact and joy, and forget that I am no longer with their father. I'm not so alone.
Yeah.
Yeah, that really helped.
Yeah, technology comes in
Yes,
a little
it
bit
helped a
handy,
lot.
isn't it?
Yes,
Yeah.
it helped.
So, Faith, now here you are as a parent or parents, and you're in that state. What, as an expert, what do you think are some of the ways that I would encourage, or a parent can encourage, independence of a child, as they grow and they're getting off your hands from infancy to adulthood, and you're seeing, enyewe, this one is going. How do you encourage independence as they're living?
As they're living. Thank you for that question. Now, as your children are now growing, you've already seen them grow.
Yeah.
And the beauty of it, as days go by, you see them grow, and you are in it. You're also helping them to transition. You've started in kindergarten, you've seen them going to primary, you've seen them going to high school.
Yes.
Psychologically, you start
You're
preparing yourself.
Yeah.
You're starting to see, oh, this is my son, I've seen he started talking to girls, soon he will request to have his own space.
Yes.
So what is expected of me, what is expected of them? And you see, in it by itself,
yes,
you're preparing yourself psychologically. And what do? You start talking, you start now having mature conversations.
Yes.
That a time will come, you'll be in your own house. A time will come, you'll make a decision to go study, like the way your children did.
Yeah.
A time will come, you'll decide to get married. And what are the expectations around that?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You won't be coming back to my house.
So you're slowly mentally preparing them and preparing yourself.
You're slowly releasing.
Yes.
Releasing. It's not something that will come like a shocker, like a death. You know, there's some deaths which come like this.
Yeah.
Your daughter will not just wake up one day and say, Mommy, I'm going. Of course, you will see some signs. They will not just wake up and say, I've gone. Depending on the relationship that you've had.
I'm learning.
Yeah, depending on the relationship that you've had with your children, right? You'll start slowly letting go, and slowly you'll start equipping them. Even you give examples, you give stories, you give real life stories.
Yes.
Like you can tell your son, you see, or your daughter, I have no problem with you going out. I have no problem with you dating. But there's this scenario. Maybe you pick up an uncle or an aunt and say, I had a sister who had lived like this, but ended up like this. Is this something which you like? At times also, you just watch documentaries of the stories of people who have gone before you. Right? And with that, you'll be able to see, and you'll see the effects, and then you'll come back and ask yourselves, you reflect, and then you're like, okay, is this the kind of life I want? Of course not. And if you've done a proper parenting, your child will be able to end up being a responsible one.
We had talked about, there's a place you mentioned about your husband and your daughter. And I'm seeing that as a very special attachment in terms of he had to go all the way to just ensure that my daughter is in a very good space, she's okay, you know, and everything. Is there, or is it just a notion that fathers are very close to their daughters? Would he or did he do the same with the son? Because I think the attachments are different between a mother, father, and the children of either genders.
Good question.
Yeah.
Daughters and their fathers are very close. I speak that in from my own experience.
Right.
I even remember the first time I got a letter from a boy, it's my dad I told. I did not tell my mother. My mother was very strict. I could see her asking, how did that boy write to you? What did you do? So I spoke to my father about it, and I wanted to know what I should say in that letter. What is a boyfriend? I didn't know what it meant. So he laughed. And he told me it's a friend who is a boy. What should I say? He said, what would you like to tell him? Think and give him an answer.
And that's your dad?
My father.
Yes.
Now, the issue of my husband escorting his daughter to school. And even the second one, he had pet names for them.
Wow.
Yeah. He was very, very close to our children, very close. He was one of these men who are a present father. He never came home once empty-handed. And he would walk in and find out whether they have... The first question you'd ask how their day was, have you drunk milk?
Yes.
So that attachment to his children happened to both his daughters and our son. We have one son. I didn't see that he was more attached to his daughters than he was to our son. He was the same with all of them.
Oh, yeah?
He was present for them. Now, in the case of my son, he passed on. My husband passed on.
Right.
Before my son went abroad. So I was left with him.
So you were the only...
So I was the only parent that he had at the time.
Yes.
For me now that it was very difficult. Very hard to let go. And it was soon after that had happened.
Exactly.
So it was not easy. In fact, I remember one of the things that helped me was just praying and finding people to pray with me to give me strength. Because it hit me very, very hard. I even remember...
It's like you're going through two losses, right?
Yes. I even remember one time asking my son later on, when he was now of age and he wanted to get married, introduce me to this girl. And she was very beautiful girl. I was very happy. I even asked him one time, since you've just had a mother, sometimes I feel as if I let you down, you know, because I can't be a man.
Yes.
And he said, no, you know, I saw how you and Dad lived. You have not let me down.
Yeah.
Everything will be okay. And we always talk. To this day, we talk about things, situations that we have experienced, and we are very close.
Yeah.
That has really helped. Conversations, always being out there and sharing what you're feeling, it helps. And I also know that there were some times that I was not able to talk about how I felt.
Yes.
Because it was like I was afraid of causing them pain. So I'd be the one who was keeping quiet.
Yes.
I kept quiet a lot after my husband passed on. I didn't know how to share.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So Faith, the psychologists, we are just about to wrap up in the next few minutes.
Yes.
That psychology, you know, like a parent, the opposite gender, what is the psychology behind that?
The Oedipus theory.
The Oedipus theory.
Oedipus.
Yeah.
Oedipus.
Yeah, that is where, you see, as daughters,
Right.
they look up to their fathers. That is the man they would want to get married
So
to.
as you're dating, you're looking for your father in this man that
yes,
you're...
the qualities, because this is your first man to be exposed to. So you will love that person, and that's why I think there's that really, really good connection.
Yes.
Even for my sons, I can see it. They usually say, if you want to know you have a good girlfriend, just bring them to mommy. Mommy will tell you if you've nailed it or not.
Yes.
So it's just that modeling that is, because you are the first woman they're exposed to. So how you behave to their father, how do you behave to them, will really determine or affect the decision they will make. They will decide whether to get married or not, depending on how you behave towards their father. And if the father is not behaving well to their mother, it will also affect their judgment. It will affect them, definitely. It will affect them. So there is that relationship and there is that bond. Even for me, my father is the one who even knew most of my things compared to how my mother could know my things. So there is that theory that the first male or the first female you're exposed to really determines a lot of...
They influence
they influence your life actually throughout from childhood to adulthood into marriages and all that. Now, based on all the challenges we've talked about, especially from Seraphine, she's gone through a lot of challenges, including the loss of the husband and now these children, and they've left. She's, if we can call it now, an empty nest, isn't it? So what do you think are some of the solutions? Or first, Seraphine can tell us what are some of the things that she has done. Now, okay, she said that was during the loss, but now that, now you've settled, emotionally, you're working and everything. Is there any other thing for anyone out there, a father, a mother, parents who are watching or listening to us? Is there any advice you can give them just to help them cope being in such a situation like you were before?
Thank you. As I said before, I always talk to my children.
Yes.
I kept in touch with them. I still do. I find conversations are helpful.
Yes.
I usually tell them they are my consultants. I joke. Yes. Whatever something I want to do,
you have to now consult.
I'm speaking to my consultants.
Yes.
I call them my cheerleaders.
Yes.
Because they are my, they are my bouncing board. When I have an idea, I share with them.
Right.
So keeping communication open between me and my children is very, very important. Anything new that I find that is interesting to me and I want to do, I seek their opinions. I'm also aware of the fact that as a young generation today, they are exposed to so much more than I was in my time. So I get the benefit of their outlook because they have been away. They're interacting with people all over the world, and that helps me. The other thing that I do as a HR consultant, I'm always talking to people. I'm a trainer in communication skills, human resources staff, so I keep busy. To the parents who are not working, they are doing business. I interact with the business community. I always volunteer to do things to help people and to talk to families. Because I find if you keep in touch with your family, you talk to your children, you give them the grounding they need to get the right advice about relationships, about things that are difficult, decision making and all that. It's very important. And then to have useful friends, and I also pray a lot.
You pray a lot.
I pray for them, I pray a lot.
That's your foundation.
That is one of the things that I do, I think, more than anything else,
Awesome.
to pray for my children.
Awesome.
Yes,
Yeah.
I pray a lot.
That is fantastic. Yeah. So as we wrap up, like I said, Faith, you're the expert. So how would you, what kind of advice would you give parents out there? And bear in mind those who are, you know, in situations where they really, there's no attachment, and there's nothing much they can do about it. For example, a child, and we'll make it very brief, like there's a child who, say, a parent is maybe in Kibra, and they have this very, resources are not there at all, maybe, and the child has left. How do you then cope with challenges, these challenges for both, across the board, for both parents on this other side of the divide, and you know, how do you cope with these challenges?
Thank you for that. What I can say, number one is to just accept the situation that you're in. Like if you're experiencing emptiness, if you fight it, it will become more hard. But if you accept and pick yourself where you left yourself and build on who you are and what you want, make life meaningful. Because if you don't make life meaningful, you'll end up being despair. You'll end up complaining, you'll end up cursing your children, you'll end up just having a gloomy life.
You'll be very
bitter.
You'll be bitter.
You'll not see meaning to it. Acceptance is number one.
Right.
And as you parent your children, don't have that room of regrets. Give it your all. First take care of yourself. Then give it all to your children. Be present if you can.
First take care of yourself.
First take care of yourself as a person, as a mother, as a father. Make sure your cup is full before you release, right? Because you cannot release from an empty cup. If you release from an empty cup, then you'll be releasing wrong things, right? So first, I've said accept. Number two, make sure your cup is full so that you can give your best, so that you don't have regrets. We cannot say parenting has a manual that you need to do 1, 2, 3, 4.
It doesn't come with a manual
it doesn't,
at all.
It doesn't, because circumstances are different. We have families with single fathers, single mothers, both parents, and maybe they're co-parenting. So situations are different. Depending on where you are, embrace your situation and just enjoy the journey. Because if you don't enjoy the journey of bringing these people up, you'll bring up a bitter person, a bitter child, a disorganized person, and the cycle will continue.
Really?
Right? If you release a child who is not secure, that child again will go and damage another person in the form of a family. And the problem will still keep going. So what you can do as parents, just accept the situation that you have, give it your all, but first take care of you. Even as you hustle for your children, even as you go out and impact other lives, don't be a toxic one. Try and just reflect on who you are and ask, am I doing the right thing? And if you're not on the right track, change and recollect yourself and bring yourself.
And that also goes for the children, right, on the other side, because that attachment is, you know, it's a two-way.
It's a two-way. It's a two-way. But you see, a child will only understand if they are talked to, or they've been given
mentored
the best.
and guided.
They cannot understand this unless you sit them down and talk about it.
Wow. Today we learn every day, don't we? And I like how we are wrapping it up. Seraphine, you've talked about communication, you've talked about prayers, you've talked about, there's so many things you've, you know, done for yourself to keep yourself stable mentally, because I think this thing can actually affect you even mentally if you're not careful, emotionally, and then our expert here has said that we need to accept the situation,
the circumstances.
work with the circumstances, work with that, however it is, bad, good or bad. And the other thing was, first you start with yourself. Love yourself. You
can't give what you don't have.
You can't pour from an empty cup. You really can't pour from an empty cup. And it's very important. That's why I was saying it's important to look at across the board, because what we have different dynamics of families and resources and, you know, all that economic status. But so people will say, oh, but I don't have, you know.
At
But
your
what you say,
level,
start.
do your best. At your level, whether you're in the slums
Yes.
or you're in the suburbs,
Yes.
offer the best.
Yes.
Don't take
Your kids
circumstance-
notice
Yes,
that.
Yes, just do your best. Because we cannot say all of us are the same.
Yeah.
We have fingers on this palm.
And they can never be the same size.
And yet they are carried from the same joint.
This conversation, I think next time I'll ask my director to give me like probably an hour and a half or so, because it seems to be really getting juicy. But dear listener, dear viewer, we hope that from wherever you are, you've been able to gain something from this conversation, which has been very, very interesting. You've learned about the different types of parental attachment, how to go about them, the challenges, and also the solutions, which include communication, prayer, accepting yourself, loving yourself first so that you're not empty. You have to pour from a cup that is full. You have to be full to be able to pour out to others. So please join us next week for another very, very exciting episode on Parenting Tuesday, and we wish you a very lovely and blessed day.